Hi everybody, I'm Norm Van Hoff from Sarinbuana Eco Lodge, or Bali Eco Lodge if you prefer. I'm here to tell you the one thing I believe you can do to help save the planet. The one really big thing I think you can do. So I suppose I want to start by saying it's not about composting, it's not about chemicals. We should all be doing that. It's not about growing organic food. We should all be doing that. I don't think a hotel like ours, an eco lodge like ours, gets any extra credit for doing these things. It just should be getting done. Now there's other sides to this, social sustainability and there's economic sustainability on top of the environment stuff. Socially, you have to be contributing to your community. You have to be doing something useful for your community. Super important. Then, something that I feel most people get really wrong. If you want to help save the world, you've got to be economically viable. You've got to have a few bucks in the bank. So if you want to run a truly sustainable business, it's got to have three things. It's got to have environmental sustainability. It's got to have social sustainability. It's also got to have economic sustainability. It's got to be a viable business. Now, there's something I've observed in the world over the years is that the people who care about social issues and the people who care about environmental issues very often have a belief system that says, I could not be a business person and still remain a good person. On the other hand, my impression is that most business people believe that they can't remain successful business people and be good corporate citizens. In other words, care about their community and take care of their environment as well. And so you've got these two groups of people who are not allowing themselves to be perhaps as productive as they could. My argument says, my experience says, in the middle here somewhere where we live at the Eco Lodge, you can have a viable business, you can take care of the environment, you can bring positive benefits to the community, but you can also have a great life, meaning you have enough money to have the things you like to have in your house. And I'm not talking about being greedy, but just having the nice things you like to have a decent car, it doesn't have to be brand new, have the ability to travel overseas. Very nice, don't have to travel first class, but just those nice things that we'd like to have. If you're not too greedy, you can have all these things. You can have a great life, as we have had here for the last 20 plus years, while looking after the community, while looking after the environment. So that's my big message to you is, if you care about these things, be serious about business. Be serious about the economic side of things. These are important issues, and it applies to politics as well, the country, the village, the state, as well as your personal life. And if you're a business person, I urge you to try and believe that you can remain a business person, your business can remain successful, but green it up. There is no perfect, by the way. There is no perfect business, there's no perfect human being. You just move in that direction. You find ways to become greener, to become more environmentally friendly, to become more socially responsible. But you can, I assure you, have a successful business and a great life, all those things that a good business brings, or a good job, while taking care of the environment and your society at the same time. We didn't want to have a chemical swimming pool. We didn't want to swim in chlorine. We also didn't want to have a fish pond that we could swim in, because we wanted to be mainstream acceptable for our guests. So this is what we ended up with. Our pool doesn't use any chemicals. The plants, and there's a little ecosystem in here really. There's fish in here as well. But as you can see, it doesn't look like a fish pond. It looks like a swimming pool. It looks like a nice, organically shaped, modern swimming pool. That's kind of what I mean. You don't have to make these big sacrifices in order to be environmentally friendly or socially friendly or to be sustainable. It doesn't mean that all of a sudden your life collapses down to a whole bunch of simple stuff that, doesn't really suit what you want. The same applies to food, the same applies to swimming pools. In every case, I think you will find that you can have the nice things about the modern world, you can have the nice things that you want to have in life without being greedy about it, without destroying the environment. There's no chemicals here, so when we flush the filters here, we flush that water down to our fish pond, and the fish like it because it's healthy water. We can drink it if we want to. So that's just another little example I wanted to pass on to you, that you can have an awesome life with a swimming pool, nice modern looking swimming pool, without having to swim in chlorine and nasty chemicals, which honestly aren't very good for you. I think we all just had a very, very hard time, and many of you got stuck in apartments and houses in cities, and I just cannot imagine how difficult that was for you. But I want to pass on that if you decide you might like to maybe stay in the city but have a big garden, have a nice productive garden, or if you decide maybe to leave the city. When we were locked down during COVID, this is where we were locked down, and so you can imagine life was not too unpleasant for us. We didn't have any business, there was no trade going through the place, but we had plenty of fresh food, we live in a gorgeous environment, managed to keep our staff on. So for us, of course it was frustrating and of course it was difficult, but nothing like what it would be to be stuck in a house or an apartment. I think I just wanted to say, grow a garden. Even if you're in an apartment, grow a small garden. If you're in the suburbs, grow what you can. Growing food and plants for the bees and the birds and everything else is way more satisfying than just having a flower garden. So I think that's my final message to you, is get out in the garden, get out from behind the computer, get out in the garden, get your hands dirty, grow a bit of food, and you'll have a lot of fun with it. And it's a lifelong hobby to get into. A final thing I want to pass on to you. There is an impression that people have that you have to be expert to, say, run a business like this, for example, a small eco lodge. It's not true. Don't let it stop you. 10 years ago, we met some very nice people in Australia who decided they would like to have an eco lodge in Bali. They were not expert on sustainability, and that worried them at first. But we designed the place for them and built it for them. It's not very far from here, and that's been a successful business since the first year that they opened their doors. So I'm trying to make the point here that those folks were not at the time expert in issues of sustainability. But once the place was set up and they kept their commitment to sustainability, it's been a successful business ever since. And so I want to say that to you. You don't have to be expert now, you just have to have a commitment. That's the critical part. You can't know everything, you can't be perfect, but you can have a commitment that says, from now on, everything I do in my business, my personal life, I'll also consider, is it okay for the society, for the community around me, and is it okay for the environment? That's all, and just keep getting better.